is expected to be populated as we had completed that application of health and safety in the workplace. Is there anyone who's encountering challenge? Do you get the understanding of how to follow suit in terms of compliance and all that? Is there anyone? You can just come in. Okay, so all is well. If there are no so we believe okay. Okay, Khawelo. Khawelo. Yes, I see you unmuted. Our office Ihesa, kindly mute. All right, thanks. You can come in, Khawelo.
I'm in.
Oh, you were joining. I thought you were responding to whether you are receiving any challenges in populating the previous summative or everything is still in order. Okay.
No,
Okay. Thank you so much, colleagues. So we are going to do quickly the synopsis of what is to be done for the next few days, maybe 2 or 1. So we're going to do this IQID 252250, apply firefighting techniques. This is going to be the application of firefighting techniques. Of course, this can be done in the workplace. This can be done at home or in a neighborhood. When you have a skill, you won't be narrow in implementation. So the instructions of the learner guide still remains, which one should, of course, adhere to. So this learner guide provides a comprehensive overview of firefighting techniques and forms part of a series of learning guides that have been developed for the series of learner guides are conceptualized in a modular format and developed for firefighting techniques learning program. So they are designed to improve the skills and knowledge of learners and thus enabling them to effectively and so just to inform you of the importance of this document that is called Learner Guide when it comes to the knowledge on the application of firefighting technique. So there is the purpose there that will clarify as to what is that we are to provide. So the provide this shall provide learners with the necessary knowledge relating to firefighting. The outcomes, therefore, are that will be able to identify different types of fires. We'll be able to can explain and practice fire prevention. We'll further be able to can operate basic firefighting equipment, and then perform basic firefighting procedures. So there is also a criteria for assessment, which is stated there. The only way to establish whether a learner is competent and has accomplished the specific outcome is through an assessment process. So, of course, there is that table that we showed you, procedure assessing and maybe later making you realize competency. So to qualify as well, we explain here. And then the range of learning. This describes the situation and the parameters in which learners operate. So here are the responsibilities as well. That you must be proactive and ask questions. It's very important that you ask questions. In many churches, you don't get that opportunity. The priest will just speak and then we say amen, we leave. So in this platform, because I'm just facilitating, you need to ask so that you get clarity and knowledge is enhanced. So be very proactive. Seek assistance, very important. That you seek assistance where there needs occurs, and help for facilitators if required, of course. So had we sat in a classroom physically, this was going to be the first contact to say what is that you are going to give at least an explanation from your side. So let me then demonstrate based on the session 1 that here we're going to talk about the different types of fires. It's not only that just the flame that you see there. There are types that are defined when it comes to firefighting technique. So here the outcomes of what you are to learn. The causes of fire are identified in accordance with the industry practice. The classes of fires are explained according to industry practice as well. So here is a fundamental question then. What is a fire? So a fire, according to the industrial knowledge, is a fire. It's a visible, tangible side effect of matters changing form. It's one part of a chemical reaction. So what is a fire in an explanation that is high level? It's a visible that you can see it, changing form. So it changes form in terms of its shape, its color, and on how it expresses itself. It's one part of a chemical reaction. So, of course, for fire to be sustained, it depends on the chemical reaction. So, chemical reaction might be that maybe it is a flame that is being developed through the cables that positive, or there were chemical liquids that exchanged or met, and fire was exposed to that. So there is quite a number of effects that influences the fire. Now, element of a fire. For fires to exist, the following 4 elements must be present at the same time. So what are the 4 elements? 1, enough oxygen to sustain combustion. 2, enough heat to raise the material to its ignition temperature. 3, some sort of fuel or combustible material, and the chemical reaction that is, of course, fire. So these are 4 types of fires, kiddos. And we have placed them as A, B, C, D, so that you know 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 types. So we're saying there are 4 types of fires. 1, common materials such as paper, wood, or most other combustibles. Combustibles. So here we're speaking of maybe your paper, your trash, your wood, and other more or less organic solids, ordinarily combustibles. So the second one is flammable liquids, of course, which we spoke about in the application of health and safety, where we spoke about that your gasoline, your paint remover, or grease, inflammable such as and paint thinner. So this is the description. So electrical fires. So on electrical fires here, of course, we further speak about so electrical fires with electricity still flowing to the burning equipment. Then you see here they are speaking of the combustible metals usually found in the industry, in big industry. So they're burning reactive metals such as sodium, magnesium, titanium, and so forth. Such metals not only burn at high temperatures, but can chemically extract oxygen from water and even carbon dioxide. So those are the types of fires that one can get exposed to. So so what are the causes of fire? So we make it to be very detailed. One, the fire can be caused by careless smoking. Those that will just throw stumpy at the dry grass, especially now during winter, or throw it at the inside the dustbin or where there's dumping. There are a lot of things that can catch smoke there. So this is leading cause of residential fire vis-a-vis deaths. Smoke detectors and small dust resistant bedding and upholstered furniture are significant fire deterrents. Asan, here is an asin in an Leonai common into our residence. It's the second largest cause of residential fires. Can you kindly answer this? Tell this man I'm in a meeting. Residential fires, sorry, colleagues, fires and Leonard caused deaths. So this asin is normally in our township we'll hear of a bitter man who was cheated by a woman, and then out of his bitterness and weak-minded state, he then burned the shack there with children inside to try to demonstrate his pain and all that. So those are the kind of asins that we see in our townships, that some will be through these thieves that are also useless, and because they are not satisfied or they're just jealous of you, they will just go and burn your property, just to try to destroy whatever little that we have. So there's heating is the also third leading cause of residential fire deaths. Heater fires are the leading cause of fire deaths. So also this ones, Agiri, they differ in our residents. There's environments in informal settlements normally where they use imbaola, and then there are those that use the gas cylinders, and then you have children, you leave it unattended to negligently, it ends up providing a reaction that will influence the death or the burning of a property. So those are the heat. So now there is also that apartment fires, and the second most frequent cause of single family residential fires. These fires often result from unattended cooking and human error rather than from mechanical failures of stoves or ovens. And then there's wiring, which is also common in residential as well. Wiring, outlets, switches, circuits, breakers, and other electrical devices are the third leading causes, of course, of fires. And the second leading cause of the fire deaths, there's this guy in one of the township, Mamelodi, uh, who was given a task to assist. This one, Kibana Beloringa, we grew up doing this thing. So they wanted to do in one of the household. He connected electricity with the pole outside there. He saw there was a opened cable from one of the switches, what is mean switch? I don't know what you call it. There is a danger in townships. He connected from their colleagues. Uh, you know, their house exploded the moment they turned on the switch, the main switch, because the pressure of volts there, vis-a-vis the household items, it overpowered them. So everything burned there, and then he had to run away because that burning caused the whole street to be without electricity for quite some time. So those are the chance takers. So we must be careful of wiring as well. So quickly with the session 2, so I think this is also giving you more guidance. It's going to be easy for you to populate your formative on this one and your summative. Very, very, very easy. You will just flow with your pen there and your exam pad. So here we explain and practice fire prevention. So the prevention of fires is explained very well in relation to general organizational housekeeping. Fire prevention is explained in relation to industry, safe practices, occupational health and safety act, and company specific procedures. The consequences of non-adherence to safe practices is explained in relation to organizational procedures. So here we are going to also be quick in terms of ensuring that you get the claims of understanding, because this that we're talking about is what you know, that which you are exposed to at wherever area you are daily. So here we're just giving you the glimpse of how do you describe it when you see it next time, because now you will be knowledgeable to say this kind of fire, and this is the kind of the fire, and then this is how you can prevent this kind, all of those sorts. So here we are just enhancing your knowledge vis-a-vis your live experience. So here are the goals of fire prevention. We speak of saving lives. It's very important that when you prevent fire from happening, you are preventing the property to be destroyed. You're also preventing death to occur or casualties. I mean, or people being admitted and all that. So the primary goal of fire safety efforts is to protect building occupants from injury and to prevent loss of life. So protecting property is a secondary goal of fire safety to prevent property damage is a secondary goal. So protecting operations by preventing fires and limiting damage, we can assure that work operations will continue. That is a fact because there won't be any disruptions. So strategy is here to ensure that you prevent a fire. A fire must have three things to ignite and maintain combustion: fuel, heat, and oxygen. If you know these three, you are done. That when the fire has started, once it is exposed to oxygen, it will spread itself or it will be more strong. When it finds heat, it depends on the kind of the fire. And then when it finds fuel, of course, it's going to be extremely more. So here is a knowledge. The basic strategy of fire prevention is to control or isolate sources of fuel and heat in. So if all three are not present in sufficient quantities, a fire will not ignite or a fire will not be able to sustain combustion. So make sure you remember these three things. Normally when you argue and then someone tries to intervene, and by intervening they remind you that you are the wrong person, we always say no, you are putting fuel on this issue. It means that you are enhancing fire. So we need to ensure that heat, fire, and oxygen are, are subtracted or are not visible or are not there in preventing the fire. So the general measures to prevent the fire: one, smoke detector. So if your workplace doesn't have fire detector, especially yourself, colleague who mentioned that there's substance abuse in one of your facilities there and all that. Obviously, you can't be abusing substance if there's no matches there that is going to assist to burn cigarette or Zol or whatever the kind of drug they're using. So there's always something that can ignite a fire. So in order to prevent that, the moment there's smoke, at least the smoke detector will be able to can set and release water there. So it is important to have smoke detectors installed on each floor. So you start by doing that. Or one of that area where they always sit to do their smoking, ma'am. If you have it there, the moment there's smoke, I can assure you there's going to be water coming out. They will always be irritated. They won't be sitting there for a long time. So, but it's not only for that cause, other causes that might occur. That is why I was saying it's important that when you do your assessment, you're able to identify an area to say, can we kindly secure that building that is old at the back there? We clean it nice, let it be a smoking room so that the teachers or the learners are able to can go there if they want to smoke. That will also be environmentally sound. So safety first is very key. Test your smoking detector every week. So because I agree everything that you install as a mechanism for safety. There's someone who is also thinking of strategy to go around it. So it's important that you check it regularly because someone who smokes and doesn't want to walk to that smoking area, they will always try to ensure that this compromise this thing. So when they smoke, you can't even hear the detector reacting. It is because they have compromised it. So you must check it every week. Remember to check them regularly for proper function and change the battery at least once a year. So it depends on the quality that you have bought, which will influence you to change batteries once a year or regularly. It will be subject to that. Then you must, of course, have an emergency number. While you should call emergency services if there is fire, do not call from the location of the fire. You will be wasting valuable time you can be using to save your life. So remember to update your emergency number list regularly. So remember in that plan we said you must put in the list of people who are responsible for what. So those numbers must forever be visible and must be everywhere to ensure that when there's fire we know who to call. When there's someone who just fell down, we need the first aid. You know who to call. When there's issues of building falling and all those things, or something that is hazardous to cause harm, you know who to call. So all those must be placed in your plan, which you are going to post in every wall there. So have a plan. Make sure everyone is familiar with the evacuation plan and location of the emergency doors. This is because if one exit route is blocked, you have a backup plan. Also agree on a place to meet. Yeah, you see now. To do a hit count once you evacuate the building. So in one of the buildings I went to when we were doing some of the rounds, sometime we realized that because there hasn't been any emergency since they worked there. So by that door, which is called an exit, they have placed boxes there. So it's more like a storeroom now, meaning that once there is an emergency, people are going to struggle to find a door of exit. Why? Because the boxes have been placed there. So that is why it's important for you to always do the routine checks of all the tools you are using for purpose of safety of individuals if an emergency occurs. So that is very key. So you must be conscious of ensuring that your emergency exits are cleared for people to can move freely because they will want to run. And head counting is very important as well. That's why I'm saying you must have an assembly point. And what can influence you having factual information is those registers that you sign for staff and for learners as well. And they must be kept elsewhere where you know that the moment you do head count, you are going to count based on what you know. So you must know who's at school today, who's not. It's a process that is necessary. It might be putting you more work, but try to find someone who can do it for you. Even if before during my time we used to have class reps or class captains, that will be able to can ensure that they check and run around with the register to check present absent and all that. So when you do your head count, you will require that list. So the smokers never smoke while going to sleep or when you are sleepy. I don't know about that. The smokers will advise if it's possible, but it's important that you are cautious. So remember, always clear the emergency doors and exit routines from unnecessary objects. At least here it appears as well. Remember as well that the ashes could easily start a fire while you are too drowsy to be fully alert. So if you have placed water on those wood and you think they have resuscitated uh, or they have shut, in fact, you must check them again. You must go and check on when you turn off the charcoal. You'll put water there. After a few minutes, you find that the charcoal is still hot. So you need to ensure that you have placed totally off the heat from any object. So there's heaters. Any portable heater should be kept at least a meter from anything that can burn, including the wall, because some of the paint that we use in our households, they are flammable. Remember as well that never leave a heater on when you are not in the office. I don't know about that, uh, uh, but it's important. So there's matches. It is very important to keep matches and lighters out of children's reach. Also, do not keep any near your fireplace. Remember as well, this is very key. Half of all fire deaths occur at night. So fire hazard checks and special attention to fire prevention should occur before applying your mind on something else. Very key. So cooking, keep the cooking area clear of combustibles. Make sure to keep all the pots, uh, handles turned inwards so they are not accidentally knocked over. Try to wear short sleeves or fitted clothes so your sleeves do not catch fire. Those that cook, please be aware of this. And if you don't cook, alert the partner at home or whoever that cooks at your workplace of this. And I think you need to, like I was saying, copy this, put it in a big font page, and then paste it on a page, put it there in the wall of the kitchen, so that they are reminded there that in case a grease fire does occur, carefully and calmly slide a lid over the pot to smoker the flames and turn off the burner. So here is a fireplace. Those that have fireplaces, those that are there at high level, before each new heating season, it is a good idea to have your chimney cleaned or chimble. That takes the smoke out, that directs the smoke. Also, do not keep any matches, newspapers, or candle near the fireplace. So remember as well, use a fireplace screen to prevent any sparks from flying out because they can burn your couches there and your mat and all that. Clothes dryer. Never leave your clothes dryer on when you are not home. This thing here we will just put there. When you come back, you'll take it to the wire. It's going to be a problem. In case fire does occur, carefully and calmly slide the lid over the top to smoke the flames and turn off the burner. So now here we're speaking of the electric appliances and wiring. Very important as well because in our place this is very much common as well. Replace or repair loose or frayed cords on all electrical devices. It's important. If outlets or switches feel warm, shut off the circuit and have them checked by an electrician. The electrician must check those things, not Bokiatsiba. Try to avoid extension cords. If you feel an extension cord is necessary, make sure that it is not frayed or worn. Do not run, that under the carpet, that cable, or around doorways. If a circuit breaker trips or a fuse blows frequently, cut down on a number of places on that line. So if there are other places that consumes a lot of electricity or requires big watts. So you must be cautious of that you are able to can shut the other down while you are having the other operational. So I'm sure there's plenty of airspace around entertainment units such as TV and stereo to avoid overheating. So here is for the housekeeping. That good housekeeping habits are an important part of a safe workplace. Effective housekeeping can eliminate some workplace hazards and help get a job done easily and properly. So why is good housekeeping important? One, it helps to reduce the amount of flammable and combustible materials, to reduce ignition hazards, to ensure safe emergency evacuation of occupants, and of course to allow for quick emergency response. So now the guidelines are clear that work areas, aisles, walkways, stairways, and equipment should be kept clear of loose material, trash, scrap, etc. Now, inspection is the only way to check for deficiencies in workplace, and the importance here thereof is critical for necessary changes to be made. So here we spoke about the importance of clearing the exit, of course. So you must ensure that your exits are clear. So you must clean up your spills such as grease, oil, or water immediately. A delay could result in an accident. So make sure that you clean everywhere, because if there's water down your floor, someone can trip. So no storage is allowed in corridors or stairwells. A cluttered hallway could slow down emergency evacuation. So one, storage must not exceed plan of 18 inches below sprinkler heads or smoke detectors. So we'll demonstrate this in a practical way. All storage must be at least 3 feet from electrical panels. So we'll also demonstrate this through practicals. So flammable and combustible liquids are potential fuel sources or for fires and are present in almost every workplace. So it is actually the vapor created by flammable and combustible liquids that ignite and burns. It is also important to understand that materials in your work area are flammable and combustible, so that you may properly store and isolate them from ignition sources. So here are the important the do's and the don'ts. Now, keep floors clean and clear of waste. This is the do. Use ILS and stairs as storage areas. This is the don'ts. So on your left are the do's, on your right are the don'ts. Keep workplaces adequately lighted or lighted. Allow material to build up on floors. And then there's an opposite on the right, block emergency exit, fire equipment, or first aid station will be stored material. So you will just check there based on the factual of the above. Which ones are the do? Which ones are the don'ts? So the workplace fire prevention is important, very important business. Workplace fire safety is Occupational Safety and Health Administration's principal occurrence. Principal focus in saving lives and preventing injuries due to fire in a key concern. So Occupational safety and health administration's standards require employers to provide proper exit fire equipment, emergency plans, and employee training to prevent fire deaths and injuries in the workplace. One, build a fire exit. So each workplace building must have at least two means of escape remote from each other to be used in a fire emergency. So this is based on the Act of law. So every company must comply with this. So you must go and check in your school there if the principal or your board has observed this, that we have the exit in your school. So if it is not there, it's going to be part of your responsibility to ensure you advocate for it. Portable fire extinguishers, we spoke about this. Each workplace building must have a full complement of the proper type of fire extinguisher for the fire hazard represented. I think we spoke about this in a previous um, ID. So emergency evacuations plan, this is very important as well. Each employer needs to have a written emergency action plan for evacuation of employees, which describes the routes to use and procedures to be followed by employees. Also, procedures for accounting for all evacuated employees must be part of the plan. So remember that plan that we said we need to construct, that is also needed. So now there's fire prevention plan. You need to have this as well in your plan. So it's going to be a huge plan, which will require huge support. Now, employers needs to implement a written fire prevention plan to complement the fire evacuation plan to minimize the frequency of evacuation, stop unwanted fires from occurring in the most efficient way to handle them. So then there must be a fire suppression system. So here we are saying properly designed and installed fixed fire suppression system enhance fire safety in the workplace. Automatic sprinkler system throughout the workplace are among the most reliable firefighting means. The fire sprinkler system detects the fire sounds and alarm and puts the water where the fire and heat are located. So these are those ones that we're talking about, the smoke detectors and all the mechanisms that are available to ensure that we prevent fire from taking rain. So consequences of non-adherence to safety practices. One, criminal penalties. So the code is part of the occupational health standard regulations. It's an act, and the appropriate detection regulations apply. Further, if the failure to comply renders the organization dangerously unsafe, the owner may be guilty of other offenses under the Occupational Health and Safety Act. Please make sure the principal and the school board knows about this. And always, like I said, build up a case by gathering evidence. And evidence you can gather from what we have been exposed to on the media. To say there's a particular crisis that occurred due to fire or due to lack of processes for emergency or so forth. So the principal was taken to task, and then some were fired, some lost their pensions, some they got demoted and all those things. So some were arrested. They are facing criminal cases now. So you need to build up that so that you are able to can shake the principal there or a director or whatever the hierarchy of leadership. So civil penalties in the event of any civil claim arising out of operation of the organization, non-compliance, if of course is relevant, could be viewed by the court as an indicator of negligence, which will increase the likelihood of the owner being found liable for both damages and penalties to settle it. So if you struggle to get those cases, you can just go to Google Chrome and ask, the kind of cases that they were also exposed and how they were dealt with. Insurance difficulties. Failure to comply may constitute a breach of the warranty of legality, rendering the organization's assets a policy void. If the failure also makes the organization unbusiness worthy, insurers will be entitled to reject any claims non-compliance could place owners in breach of the due diligence provisions of the policy, thereby causing claims to fail. So if you do not comply as the company, you are therefore also bound to not get your claim attended to. I trust we are well. So for today, we'll do those two sessions in order to afford you and your brain to digest properly, because I believe your day was also colorful, especially coming from a hectic weekend. So I hope you uh, got some of knowledge today based on the two sessions we've done. I further advise you, because I won't be the arbiter that will inject knowledge to you alone. So you need to, on your own, go through the documents, just read them for your own understanding and clarity. And then we are forever available to provide further clarity if you source. So this is also very important. And I believe we are having some of the things here that will require you to assist the school or the workplace. Issues like your insurance. You might find even your institution doesn't have insurance, but with you having done the assessment and went through this, you'll be able to kind of advise then and there on how to obtain insurance. I think it's in Tla. You can come in, Moses.
Thank you. Good afternoon. My question is on, especially on the feedback to fellow lecturers in our schools and also the administration. My experience is that we attend these programs. When you come, you want to give feedback. Sometimes you will slot you until you never get. Is it possible that as the service provider, you can put forward a recommendation that all graduates should be given the opportunity to give feedback to the staff and the management, so that this will become meaningful? Because if we just come here, you become the only one probably who will understand what should be done. You want to do it, but those who should give you the opportunity to do so don't take it seriously. So I was just requesting that you could make a recommendation even to college that we get that opportunity. Thanks.
No, thank you very much. That's a true diagnosis of many of the employers. So I think it's possible. We'll just practicalize it on our side when we are about to conclude the course. Just to write courteously to the institution that they be aware of this, and probably will also give background based on the Occupational Health and Safety Act, so they understand that this that they are doing, it will be compliant to the law. It's not really trying to do favor for you as a learned person. So we will advocate for it. I will speak to the institution, IHESA, so that when we are about to conclude, we're able to can distribute these letters adequately and fairly to everyone. But I think, we do not like to invest in knowledge that is not going to be fruitful. As the institution, we really want to build a history of course, which when we refer or reference, we are able to can say, after we have given so many individuals from different colleges, these are so many developments that we have seen, so that we're able to can track our work as well. So and you might find, even when you go to check with regards to the occupational health standard, that your college is not compliant. And the moment the compliance office narrows its energy and work to your school, they might render your school non-compliant, and there will be consequences. So it's important to alert the school that there is this, and we will be coming, and there might be other offices that might be coming to monitor whether that facility is compliant or not. Because if it's not compliant, they're going to make a recommendation that it must be closed down. So if it is closed down, it means there's no business. So if there's no business, there's no work. If there's no work, there's no learners to also learn and all that. So all those must be injected as part of the importance of you being given an opportunity to come and implement what you have learned here. So we'll definitely do remind each other. Let's remind each other as we are closing to conclude the course that can you kindly assist as the office of EHESA, and then we will ensure that we advocate for that in conjunction with other colleagues. I trust Muhlombe Nhlanhla, you are answered.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I'm answered, yes.
Thank you so much. So thank you. Thank you, colleagues. On absence of any other question of clarity, I want to advise you as well that every training, of course, even if you don't learn 1,000 things, but one thing that you have learned, just write it down. That when you conclude this, you are able to can start to advocate, because there are new things that you always hear of and that you always learn, even though you have a huge experience. So write those things down on your notepad, and then when we come back, as we conclude, we are able to can make recommendations and assist each other then and there. So I trust you had a very wonderful weekend that was full of 7 colors and all kind of liquids. I really wish you to have a fruitful and productive week ahead. We meet again soon. Just to conclude this technique of firefighting, may you have the rest of the afternoon and the evening, may it have a very nice supper that has meat in it. And wishing you all the best. Thank you so much. Let's meet again soon. The session is therefore over for today.
Thank you.
Colleagues, can someone help me? Where do we write our names? I heard that we should write our names during the session. Do we write on the chat box, or you just write it as you come in, then it shows your name? Is there anyone who wrote their name?